If you are a real estate wholesaler right now, this quarter four of this year, 2024, is going to be a tremendous opportunity for you. Not only for you to make a ton of money, but to position yourself to be doing tremendously next year. And the reason for that is that right now rates are the lowest that they have been since February of 2023. And they're going to continue to go down. When that happens, then there's activity in the marketplace. Housing takes a jump. The reason being is that now the buyers that have been waiting on the sidelines are now looking to take advantage of the lower interest rates. Rehabbers and flippers are now going to be looking for more inventory. Why? Because again, buyer demand. And so then there's certain things you need to do to take advantage of the situation and circumstances so that now you can maximize the amount of money that you're going to make. I'm going to go through this list. They're not in any particular order because they all need to be done. Number one, you need to increase your marketing and lead generation. The majority of the time when I speak with real estate wholesalers that are struggling, meaning that they're either looking to get their first deal, but they haven't been able to do so, or are inconsistent, meaning they've done a deal here or there, but nothing consistent. The biggest issue with them is always marketing. It's always lead generation. That's because they might be stuck doing cold calling and some of these other antiquated methods which don't allow them to generate a large number of leads, and they're not doing any sort of online marketing. My advice to you right now is that you've got to figure out a lead generation strategy that you can ramp up easily, and that it doesn't require a tremendous amount of work on your end. For example, if you're doing cold calling, in order to increase your lead generation, you have to do more calls. That's if you're doing it. If you're not doing it, you have to hire more cold callers. You have to buy more lists. You have to skip trace more records. The great thing about online marketing is that to change your marketing budget, to get more leads coming in the door over the next 24, 48, 72 hours, it's just simply going on your computer screen, changing the number from say $25 a day or $50 a day to $75 or $100 a day. And all of a sudden now you have more leads. So it's certainly a lot easier. And obviously they're warm incoming clients. But you need a way that you can add more leads to your pipeline. Because again, if you are in the convincing business, it's always a more difficult business to be in versus a sifting and sorting business. And so for you, for speed's sake, you need to be in a mindset of, I need to talk to as many people as I can, as quick as I can, to try to figure out who's going to be a reasonable seller that's willing to sell me the property at a discount because of the situation and the circumstances that they have. And then that way you can move quickly on this market. Because if you're going to implement a lead generation model that is going to take you another month just to scale and just to get all the pieces in place, that's a problem. So bottom line is you need to increase your marketing in order to take advantage of the opportunity here. Number two is you need to expand your market geography. Rather than being in one market, you need to spread out. And typically, like for us, we do deals across 15 or 20 states. And the reason for that is that even though the interest rates are going down, which means that the activity is going to increase, that's a broad statement. All the markets are going to react differently. Many times I'll go in right now and I'll see a market. Like the other day I was looking at Toledo, Ohio. I don't know what's going on in Toledo, Ohio, but I looked at that market and I couldn't believe the amount of inventory that was turning over. Lots of activity. But I've looked at other markets recently in the current situation and saw that they were slow. So even though rates are decreasing, you still have to deal with the nuances of individual markets. So by spreading yourself out across 10, 15, or 20 states, then you're able to make sure that you take advantage of the opportunity, that you don't get stuck in one market and you're thinking, oh man, I'm going to make a ton of money, but now you may be stuck, say, in Southwest Florida, where there is a tremendous amount of inventory. So even if the rates go down, it's still a tough market to be in. And if you're only in that market, now you're not going to reap the benefits of if you were spread out virtually across the entire country. Then yeah, you might get some leads in those markets that are struggling and are still going to be struggling despite the lowered interest rates. But yet now you're going to have the ability to do deals in other markets that you may not have even considered. The next thing you need to do is you need to be a little bit more aggressive with your offers with the property owners, both on the high and the low. The only way you're going to be able to make a big money in wholesaling, and big money is, our average assignment fee is $15K. But if you want to make $15K average on a deal, or if you want to make $28K average on a deal, for us to make $15K, we got to make offers where there's a margin of $25,000, $30,000 built in, because sometimes we don't know the condition of the properties, especially if we're dealing with nationwide properties. And so we got to build on margin. So you got to be able to still negotiate heavily with the sellers. But now you have to be able to be a little bit flexible. So a deal that maybe you thought maybe it's a bit of a skinny deal, but if you look at that market and you look at the dynamics of that market and you see that there's activity, there's a lot of pending transactions, there's a lot of sold transactions over the last 90 days, then that potentially could be a market that you might say, you know what, normally I wouldn't say yes to this deal, but I'm going to give it a shot. Why? Because this market is hot, interest rate, and it's going to get hotter because of the decrease in interest rates. And so therefore, I'm going to take a chance at doing a deal there. In addition to that, being aggressive with your offers to buyers. Now, you still have to offer your deal, your assignment contract to that buyer with a discount enough that they can make a profit. However, in a period of interest rates being lower, buyer activity being higher, the fact that they want inventory so that they can have their contractors do the work and they can keep that machine going, many times they're willing to take less on a rehab deal. So whereas, an investor in a market where it's a little bit soft, interest rates are high, they're a little bit timid, they want a big margin on that deal. Why? Because if something happens, if the house takes too long to sell, then, for them, that built-in margin of, say, they might need a minimum of, say, 30, 35K profit on the deal. They need that just in case the market continues to slow down. In a market that's moving quickly on the positive and there's activity, then they're willing to then take the opposite approach, meaning that they're willing to take a skinnier deal because of the fact that they can turn it around quickly, they can go ahead and put their people to work. And so therefore, as a result of that, you have to keep that in mind that, you still have to offer a low price to the sellers to get a really good deal. However, sometimes you may have to fudge that a little bit and say, you know what, I think it's tight, but I'm going to take a chance on it because there's activity and the rehabbers need inventory and they're going to take this deal off of my hands. Last but not least is you need a strong buyer's list. Especially when you're doing deals nationwide, it's different than the conventional model. If you're doing deals locally, if I was doing deals only in Broward County and I was wholesaling only in Broward County, then over time I will build up a list of buyers that I can routinely go back to over and over again with my deals. However, when you're doing nationwide, many times you're getting deals in areas that you know nothing about, which means that then now you don't have a buyer. So you got to go hunt for that buyer, brand new. And so that becomes a little bit of a difficult thing to do because now you have leads coming in from your motivated seller campaigns, and then you also have properties that you're trying to sell. So how do you streamline that? And how do you go through the process of sorting these buyers out? Because conventionally, you would have to, say, use a software like PropStream or some of these other software that you download the list of buyers, then you have to skip trace that list of buyers, and then you have to message them, and it's a very long process. What we use a tool called Investor Lift. I'll put a link in the description. You can get a discount for using my link. That is an affiliate commission, but we use that. That software is the thing that we use 99% of the time in order to sell our properties. And it allows us to send out, it allows us to go into in a market that we know nothing about, figure out who the buyers are, send them a text, send them an email, get their phone number, reach out to them by text, and go on this full-blown seek mode for a buyer. And within 24 to 48 hours, if the deal is good, we can find a buyer, get it sold, get it assigned, move on to the next thing, which is generating more leads and getting more deals on the contract. If you're interested in taking advantage of this opportunity, make sure you watch that video that pops up there. It'll give you my entire framework for doing deals nationwide, including how we run advertising campaigns and everything you want to know in order to do this yourself.